Imagine buying a house for less than the price of a used car in one of the most developed countries on Earth. Sounds like a dream, right? But what if I told you that the peaceful Japanese paradise you see on your screen doesn't actually exist? Right now, the internet is obsessed with Japan's cheap, abandoned houses, or Akiya. Millions of Westerners are dreaming of a shortcut to a slow, anime-like life in the countryside. But there is a massive gap between the curated tourist fantasy and the harsh social reality. Today, we're looking past the aesthetics to uncover the hidden traps, the cultural shocks, and the truth about what it really means to live in rural Japan. Let's find out why this global hype started, and why it might be too good to be true. 1. The million-dollar dream for $10,000 Japan's Akiya hype. Would you buy a house for less than your monthly rent? It sounds completely crazy, doesn't it? But right now, this is a real trend happening in Japan. Social media is flooded with videos of cheap abandoned houses, known as Akiya. You see charming videos of foreigners buying large country homes. Some of these houses cost only $10,000. Some are even advertised as completely free. To a Western buyer, this looks like an absolute paradise. In Europe or America, real estate prices are skyrocketing. Buying a home feels impossible for millions of young people. Then they see these beautiful Japanese houses. They have traditional sliding doors, tiled roofs, and peaceful gardens. It feels like stepping straight into a Studio Ghibli movie. The internet loves this fantasy. Viewers think, I can quit my job, move to Japan, and live in peace forever. It looks like the ultimate lifestyle hack. But here is a serious question for you. If these houses are so wonderful, why are they empty? Why aren't local Japanese people buying them? In the West, we are taught that property always has value. We believe a cheap house is just a lucky find. But in Japan, the rules of society and real estate are completely different. What looks like a dream to an outsider might look like a burden to a local. Are these buyers discovering a hidden paradise, or are they just missing the point of Japanese culture? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Today, we are going to look past the beautiful internet filters. We will uncover the real truth behind Japan's Akiya boom. 2. The hook. Why is Japan so cheap? Why are these houses so incredibly cheap? Is there a hidden catch? To understand this mystery, we must look at a massive cultural difference. In the West, we view real estate as an investment. We expect the value of a house to grow over time. If you buy a house today, it will likely be worth more in 20 years. But in Japan, the housing market operates in the exact opposite way. Here, wooden houses are treated like cars. The moment you buy a new car and drive it away, it loses value. In Japan, a house depreciates to almost zero value in just 22 years. Only the land underneath keeps any value. Because of this system, most Japanese buyers prefer brand new homes. They do not want to live in a house where someone else has lived. Older houses are often seen as worthless, old-fashioned, or even unsafe. Therefore, millions of homes are simply abandoned. When the owners grow old or pass away, think about that for a moment. To an American or European, a 100-year-old house is a historic treasure. It is a premium property that people pay extra to own. But to the average Japanese buyer, a 100-year-old house is often just a pile of old wood. It is a structure that needs to be torn down and replaced. This creates a bizarre paradox in the global market. Westerners see a valuable vintage asset sold for a bargain. Meanwhile, the local community sees a valueless piece of trash that nobody wants. Foreign buyers think they are outsmarting the system. They think they found a secret loophole, but in reality, they are entering a market that is fundamentally designed to lose value. They are buying something that the local economy has already rejected. 3. Cultural shift. The Ghibli syndrome. There is a fascinating idea by the philosopher Jean Baudrillard. He talked about a concept called hyperreality. This happens when an imitation of reality becomes more real than reality itself. This is exactly what is happening with the global Akiya boom. We can call it the Ghibli syndrome. Many Westerners do not fall in love with the actual complex country of Japan. Instead, they fall in love with a highly curated, media-driven image. They watch beautiful anime, aesthetic YouTube vlogs, and cinematic Instagram reels. They see misty green mountains, traditional wooden beams, and peaceful, smiling elders. This image feels deeply comforting. It looks like a slow-paced utopia, far away from stressful Western capitalism. But this aesthetic is a simulation. It is a filtered slice of life that leaves out the difficult parts. The famous philosopher Jacques Lacan once noted that we rarely desire what we actually want. Instead, we desire what we see others desiring. We see a cool influencer transforming an old house on social media. Suddenly, that becomes our ultimate personal dream. It becomes a major global trend. However, buying a house based on a trend is incredibly dangerous. When a tourist visits Tokyo or Kyoto for a week, they look through a romantic lens. They see a fantasy wonderland. But a real country is not a theme park. It is a living, breathing society with its own deep struggles. By moving straight into a remote Akiya, these buyers are trying to live inside a movie. They are not embracing the real Japan. They are just trying to build their own private Western bubble inside a beautiful Japanese-style shell. 4. The hidden tax and legal traps. Why would anyone give away a house for free? In the West, that sounds suspicious. But in Japan, it is a calculated financial decision. To understand this, we need to look at Japanese tax laws. In many Western countries, property taxes can be high, but the asset maintains value. In Japan, there is a specific system called the fixed asset tax. If a property has a house standing on it, the tax on the land is significantly reduced. In fact, keeping an old empty house can reduce the land tax by up to 83%. This is why many families refuse to tear down old family homes. If they demolish the house, their tax bill instantly skyrockets, so they leave the house empty for decades. It is a strategic way to avoid higher taxes. However, this creates a massive trap for foreign buyers. Many Akiya are in terrible structural condition. They often suffer from severe water damage, rotting wood, and termite infestations. Repairing these homes requires specialized Japanese carpentry. These traditional techniques are incredibly expensive. What if the house is too damaged to repair? You might decide to demolish it and build a new one. But demolition costs in Japan are shockingly high. Tearing down a small countryside house can easily cost $20,000 or more. Now, look at the situation from the perspective of a local heir. They live in Tokyo and inherit a broken house in a dying village. They cannot sell it. They cannot afford to fix it. If they tear it down, their taxes go up. It is a financial black hole. Therefore, giving the house away to an eager foreigner for $10,000 is a victory for them. The local family escapes a permanent financial burden. Meanwhile, the foreign buyer unknowingly signs up for a lifetime of hidden expenses. 5. Community integration. The Chonai-kai shock. When you buy a house in the West, your relationship with your neighbors is usually simple. You say hello, wave, and mind your own business. But in rural Japan, buying a house means joining a deeply connected social ecosystem. Almost every rural village has a neighborhood association called a Chonai-kai. This is not a casual volunteer club. It is a vital ancient system for managing local life. The Chonai-kai is responsible for many daily operations. They manage the local trash collection spots. They organize festival preparations, and they maintain safety. As a resident, you are expected to participate actively. This means joining mandatory weekend community work. You will be asked to clear weeds from public roads, clean irrigation ditches, and shovel snow in winter. If you do not show up, your neighbors will notice immediately. In a small village, your absence can be seen as a lack of respect. It can create silent but heavy tension. This is where the language barrier becomes a major crisis. These community meetings and rules are not written in English. They are conducted in rapid local Japanese dialects. If you cannot understand the complex social rules, you can easily cause friction without knowing it. For example, throwing away your trash on the wrong day or in the wrong way can upset the entire neighborhood. Many foreign buyers look at an Akiya and think about the physical renovation. They plan the kitchen, the garden, and the paint colors, but they completely forget to plan for the human element. You are not just buying a piece of property. You are signing up for a lifetime of social obligations. If you cannot speak the language and follow the invisible rules, you might accidentally become a burden to the very community you wanted to love. 6. The dark side of rural isolation. The countryside of Japan is undeniably beautiful, but behind that peaceful scenery lies a very complex social reality. For centuries, Japanese villages survived by working together tightly. This created a beautiful culture of cooperation. However, it also created a deep culture of conformity and peer pressure. In Japan, there is an old dark concept known as murahachibu. This translates to social exclusion or ostracism by the village. In the past, if a family broke the community rules, the entire village would ignore them. They would completely cut off all social and economic contact. They would only help them during fires or funerals. Of course, modern Japan is different. You will not face traditional murahachibu today, but the psychological roots of this mindset still exist in remote areas. Rural communities can be deeply suspicious of change, outsiders, and new ideas. The social pressure to fit in is invisible, but it is incredibly heavy. If you choose to live differently, you might face a quiet, polite isolation. People will smile at you, but they will never truly let you into their inner circle. This can be a massive shock for Westerners. In the West, we value individualism. We think, it is my house, so I can live how I want. But in a Japanese village, your private life is always connected to the public peace. This brings us to a major question for the audience. How would you handle living in a place where your neighbors watch your every move? Could you survive in a community where fitting in is more important than being yourself? Let me know in the comments if you could adapt to this lifestyle. For many unprepared buyers, the dream of rural peace quickly transforms into a reality of deep, unbendable loneliness. 7. The illusion of integration. Bringing your country with you. When you move to a new country, you should expect to adapt to its lifestyle. However, many Akiya buyers are unknowingly doing the exact opposite. They buy an old house in a remote village, but they do not change their habits. They install Western appliances, fast internet, and modern comforts. They spend their days working online, playing video games, or talking to friends back home in English. On paper, their address is in Japan, but in reality, they are just living in their own home country, inside a beautiful Japanese shell. They are creating a small, isolated Western bubble. This is not true integration. This is an illusion. Living in Japan for 3 hours or 3 days as a guest feels magical. Everything looks clean, organized, and exotic. But if you do not step outside your bubble, you never truly experience the country. You are missing the entire point of living abroad. The internet makes this bubble even stronger. Today, people can buy a house anywhere while staying, connected to their global digital culture. They do not need to speak to their neighbors to survive. They do not need to buy local food or join local events. They can treat the Japanese countryside as a cheap, pretty background for their online life. But this lifestyle has a serious cost. If you bring your entire country with you, you will always remain a complete stranger. You will never understand the true depth, the struggles, and the quiet beauty of Japanese society. You are fast-tracking your way to a fantasy, but you are completely missing the real reality. 8. The tourist lens versus the resident lens. There is a massive difference between visiting a country and actually living there. This is a trap that many foreign buyers fall into. When you visit Japan as a tourist, you see the ultimate customer service. The trains are perfectly on time, the streets are clean, and everyone is incredibly polite. This flawless hospitality can make you feel complete inner peace. It is easy to think, this society is perfect, and I want to be a part of it forever. But this is a temporary illusion. You are looking at the country through a romantic tourist lens. When you become a permanent resident, the heavy tourist curtain falls. Suddenly, you have to deal with the real, complex bureaucracy of Japanese society. You must navigate the complicated banking system, the strict immigration laws, and the detailed health insurance paperwork. None of these administrative tasks are designed for foreigners. They require advanced language skills and a deep understanding of Japanese corporate culture. Furthermore, true cultural understanding takes a long time. It cannot be fast-tracked through a social media video. Long-term residents know both the beautiful parts and the incredibly frustrating parts of Japan. They understand the unwritten rules, the silent communication, and the complex social hierarchy. They know that Japan is not a flawless cartoon. It is a highly disciplined nation with its own heavy pressures. If you jump straight into buying an Akiya, you are skipping the most important step. You are trying to be a resident while still thinking like a tourist. You are chasing a short-term feeling of comfort, without preparing for the long-term reality of daily life. To truly appreciate this country, you must put away the tourist lens and learn to love the real, imperfect reality. 9. Respect versus exploitation, the immigrant parallel. Let us look at this trend from a sharper, more provocative perspective. We must discuss the ethics of the global Akiya boom. For decades, people from developing countries have moved to Japan for economic reasons. They work hard, support the infrastructure, and send money back home to their families. Often, society views them simply as economic immigrants. Now consider the wealthy Westerners buying cheap countryside houses. They come from strong economies utilizing their high purchasing power. They buy land for prices that locals consider absurdly cheap. Then they use the community resources, while living in their private digital bubbles. Are they really any different from economic immigrants? In fact, we can call them economic tourists. They are taking advantage of a country's painful demographic decline for their own personal comfort. They treat a dying, historic village as a low-cost fantasy playground. This creates a sensitive cultural paradox. Western buyers often think they are saving these old houses. They believe they are doing the local community a massive favor. But if you do not learn the language, and if you do not pay local income taxes, you are not saving anything. You are simply consuming a cheap resource. You are exploiting a temporary economic gap. True respect for Japan means understanding its pain. The empty houses exist because the younger generation had to leave for jobs. The villages are quiet because the local economy is struggling. If you want to buy an Akiya, you must ask yourself a hard question. Are you coming to support the community, or are you just exploiting its decline? True integration requires you to give back to the society, rather than just taking what is cheap. Conclusion. How to truly value the real Japan. In conclusion, buying an Akiya is not a simple life hack. It is a major commitment that requires deep humility and hard work. We must move past the easy internet-filtered fantasy of Japan. The real country is much more complex than a Studio Ghibli movie. It has difficult social rules, fading rural economies, and a declining population. But it also has an incredibly rich history, resilient people, and a beautiful spirit of cooperation. If you truly love Japan, you should not look for a cheap shortcut. You must learn to love the country for what it actually is, not just for what it can give you. True integration cannot be bought for $10,000. It cannot be fast-tracked in a few months. It is a slow, gradual process that takes years of effort. It begins when you put away your tourist lens. It starts when you open your mind to the local language, the local traditions, and the local duties. You must be willing to step outside your comfortable Western bubble. You must be ready to sweat during the community cleanup, and to listen to your neighbors with respect. If foreign buyers can do that, the Akiya boom could become something beautiful. It could bring fresh energy, diverse ideas, and new life to dying villages. But this will only happen if buyers approach Japan with respect rather than consumption. Thank you for watching until the very end. What do you think about the future of Japan's empty houses? Is this global trend a great opportunity for rural areas, or is it a cultural mistake? Share your honest thoughts in the comments section below. Do not forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell for more deep cultural analysis. See you next time, and goodbye.